Maisie Hannah Peters is an English pop slash indie pop singer-songwriter. She has an established brand, dedicated fan base, and has found a decent amount of success with her 3 studio albums and 1 soundtrack album, as well as various singles and extended plays, which are also known as EPs. So why does no one have any idea who she is? In today's video, we are going to dive into why Maisie Peters hasn't had her big break. The first conversation that we need to have is being an opener. Maisie being an opener doesn't surprise me because, like the title says, she hasn't had her big break yet, enough to sell out arenas or maybe even amphitheaters, especially in the United States, and you see her being more popular in the United Kingdom than in the United States. But the variety of artists she opens for opens a discussion on whether or not artists should match the vibes of the singers that they're opening for. She was supposed to open for Niall Horan on his 2020 tour, Heartbreak Weather, before it got canceled, obviously due to COVID, which I actually didn't know before I was doing research for this video, and that's like really pretty accurate with her brand. I feel like her opening for Niall Horan really would have set her up well. Now, she has opened for Ed Sheeran on a variety of occasions, obviously, because she's on his record label, which is another example of being a great opener. I think Ed Sheeran and her music is similar. Similarly, she opened in London for one night of Taylor Swift's critically acclaimed The Eras Tour, which she received really harsh criticism for, and she even wrote a song on her brand new album called Mary Jane's about it. She's a huge fan of Taylor, and I personally believe that she is one of the only Tay daughters. After opening for Taylor, she opened for Conan Gray on his Found Heaven tour, which I haven't listened to that full album, although I love Super 8. I think she would have fit better on earlier Conan Gray tours versus the Found Heaven tour. Found Heaven, from the songs I've heard, and feel free to argue with me in the comments, it doesn't really match Maisie's aesthetic very well, especially in contrast to Niall Horan or Ed Sheeran. Now, I can look past this, and I don't think this section would have been around if not for who she was supposed to open for on her arena tour and was canceled due to Maisie's mental health, Kelsea Ballerini. Now, I love Kelsea Ballerini. Maisie, especially at that point, wasn't country at all. Kelsea was very pop country, so maybe that's why. But another one of Kelsey's openers at that time was Maren Taylor, who is very, very country. So I'm not sure what the idea was here. And by the way, Maren Taylor is amazing. So if you would like to listen to her, go listen to her. She's great. It's giving Maud Latour opening for Alex Warren. Now let's open the Tay daughter discussion. Like I mentioned, I wanted to touch upon the concept of a Tay daughter, and I want to make a full length video discussing in depth everyone who has been a Tay daughter and if I believe that they should be or shouldn't be so. Maisie is a lot of the time referred to as a Tay daughter, which honestly, she's one of the only Tay daughters that has the songwriting ability and the catchiness to be a Tay daughter. Now let's talk about her genre shift. Let's talk about Fluorescence. I love Maisie Peters. My favorite song is Therapy from her Good Wench album that came out in 2023. And this is in stark contrast to a song like Audrey Hepburn, which was the first single off Fluorescence. Fluorescence, I saw on Twitter today, was actually described as Maisie Peters' folklore, and I think that is the best explanation for it. These kinds of songs versus The Good Witch are a huge shift, and I feel like that has only been seen from Lover by Taylor Swift to Folklore by Taylor Swift. And we all know how I feel about folklore. But yet again, Fluorescence is more similar to Lover in the regard that the singles were absolutely a crap choice. And I don't know who decided on those singles. Questions, Vampire Time were right there. And I don't feel like doing a genre shift that is this bold at this stage in her career, especially when the writing, especially on the singles, is not up to par from her previous albums, is a very smart decision. Now let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into Fluorescence. I think before Fluorescence, she had a decent shot at blowing up, but just like we discussed with the genre shift, this was a really strange rollout for her third studio album, Fluorescence. And for those of you who do not know, the first single was released on October 9th, 2025. Which is basically when Chess opened. The album is coming out in May of 2026. And you might notice that I did not give the exact date while I did for the first single. That is because when she announced it in January with the title Fluorescence, as well as the release date for the album, she had to announce the release date again a couple weeks back because it got pushed back by a week. So in January, she announced that it would be released on May 15th, and in late April, she announced it got pushed back to May 22nd. And these are just a few of the things that are a problem with the rollout for Fluorescence. I think the singles played a huge part in it as well. And maybe this is exactly where Maisie wants to be in her career, selling the O2 and more fame in the UK versus the US.